Alien Romulus is the seventh installment of the Alien franchise. Fede Alvarez directed the film, who was behind 2013's Evil Dead, Don't Breathe, which I still haven't seen, and The Girl in the Spider's Web. Alvarez also wrote the film along with Rodo Sayags. We also have Ridley Scott, who returns as a producer, and for those who don't know, is the original filmmaker to the original Alien film. The Alien franchise has had its big ups and indeed big downs, and just like with the Predator franchise, it's been a big part of my life since my teens. I love Alien. It's still a cult classic, horrifying and atmospheric experience. I had the pleasure of rewatching it about 5 years ago now for its 35th anniversary on the big screen. I don't know why I didn't, but I should have rewatched it again for its 40th anniversary 5 years later. Regarding Aliens, it still proves to be one of the better sequels out there, making the scale and stakes to go a lot higher of aliens against humans and making the experience to be more action-packed, but still having those horrifying moments. Then there is Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, and this is really when the franchise went downhill for me, and I'm not a big fan of both of those films. Alien 3 though, I would like to rewatch that because it's David Fincher, who is one of my favourite filmmakers, and just to get a more of understanding about the creative difference he went through with the studio. Then, quite a few years later, we had a couple of prequel films, Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Prometheus is indeed divisive, but it is also different and so interesting from its philosophical ideas about the meaning of life, which I know is not for everyone. Alien Covenant, I only remember very little. I'm just going to see what my rating was again. Oh, okay then. Not the worst, but not great. What else was there? Oh yes, there was a couple of crossover films, Alien vs Predator and Aliens vs Predator, and all I'm going to say about these two films is that they don't really count, and in my opinion, they shouldn't have really existed in the first place. Sorry. So, without further ado, I think it's best that we'll just move on now. Alien Romulus follows while scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station. A group of young space colonists come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. Now, I didn't love this like a lot of others have, but I did like it, and I found it to be a pretty thrilling experience. Firstly, I felt the aesthetic and tone of what Alvarez created for Alien Romulus was excellent. It's pretty rough, but it's also a gritty and depressing looking film based on where our characters are located and introduced and where they travel to when the horror kicks off. In addition, it's beautifully well shot, and the use of the soft lighting does a brilliant job of capturing the dark and chilling tone. The cinematography also captured some breathtaking visual scenery for the space sequences, and it pulls you into the film. There are some enjoyable and thrilling action moments. For example, there is a scene when the characters have to go through this dark room full of face huggers and to try and keep quiet and calm and not show any fear. Plus, there is an exciting action sequence when characters have to shoot xenomorphs with zero gravity. I thoroughly liked the production sets and props. They all have a great use of detail by the old, familiar sci-fi technology from the franchise. The mixture use of the practical and visual effects were all very well made by the creations and maneuvers of the xenomorphs and facehuggers. By the way, they were all a lot of fun and thrilling to watch once again. Plus, the use of gore, slime and acid was so gross and awesome. So overall, I felt Fede Alvarez's directing and the rest of the crew have all done a neat job, and a lot of passion and care went into Alien Romulus on a visual and technical level. I thought the performances were great. Kaylee Spaney as the main character named Rain was marvellous. She's been killing it this year and she carries a lot of weight from this film. David Johnson as Andy, who plays a synthetic, was pretty phenomenal, playing a very challenging role in not one but two personalities with so much subtlety. Just like previously with Ian Holm, Lance Henriksen, and Michael Fassbender, and I do believe that Johnson did look up some research of what those three actors did. I loved Rain and Andy's brother and sister chemistry. They both show much care towards each other, and you believe in their arc to wanting change and freedom in their lives. Away from this cosmic mining colony run by the Wayland Corporation. Regarding the plot, it is familiar, but it is also basic and contained. Some viewers will say it's the same old Alien, but some will also appreciate and prefer this than what one of the prequel films did. Now, there are callbacks and references in Alien Romulus, and this is when I start to get into my negatives. Now, some of them I thought were fine for plot worthiness and development, such as when Kaylee Spaney is being shown and told how to use a machine gun, and just like when Sigourney Weaver was being taught by Michael Biehn in Aliens. But that shows as story and character development for Rain to learn and defend herself against the xenomorphs. There was also the opening credits with the familiar graphics and moody music giving a nod to Alien, just like what Top Gun Maverick did to the first film. But some of the callbacks were forced, annoying, unnecessary, and some of them didn't make sense, making me roll my eyes back with a sigh. Spoilers, by the way, for this part of the review, so if you do not want to hear, you can skip to this time code right here. So firstly, I want to show you this famous line from Aliens.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Which had meaning because of Ripley being a mother figure to Newt and saying it to the alien queen. In Alien Romulus, Andy says, get away from her, then shoots the xenomorph, and then says afterwards, you bitch. Okay. Which was executed oddly and had very little meaning, instead of it being a wink to a quotable line in Aliens. Another moment is when they sort of bring back Ian Holm as a synthetic, but it's not as Ash. I mean, that wouldn't be possible. And this other version is called, I believe it's Rook, with a deep fake of Ian Holm as he sadly passed away back in 2020. So they did what Rogue One, A Star Wars Story did to Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin. I just don't understand, like, why couldn't they have a different character played by a different actor? My reaction when I saw this deep fake version of Ian Holm was surprising, but it didn't feel right to me. I'm just guessing here, but I do think that these were studio notes by the executives at Disney/20th Century Studios and not based on Alvarez's script. But I might be wrong here. Maybe Alvarez wants to make a love letter to the Alien franchise. It's just all about remembering this, remembering that. Member? Anyway, let's move on. I found some of the scares to be pretty effective, but some were predictable. Righty then, let's look through this glass door of this dark room and hoping that nothing's going to pop out. I found the supporting characters to be average and forgettable, and a couple of them were so one-dimensional. But as always, this being an Alien film, they were used more for entertainment purposes and less on being fleshed out. Look, I didn't love this, but I didn't hate it. I do confidently think someone like Fede Alvarez was trying so hard to show care towards this film, and maybe or maybe not could have had studio interference with the script. Great performances, especially by Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson, with a basic plot, with some fine but annoying callbacks. But still, it's worth checking out in cinemas with a busy audience. I'm going to give Alien Romulus 4 stars out of 5. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please let me know your thoughts about the film in the comments below. Feel free to watch another video and check out my social media sites. Links are in the description below. I appreciate the like, subscribe and support as always. Have a wonderful day. Until next time.